What made this the right time for him to come up?
I think there were, three things mostly. One is that I've said before, like the outcome we want is for him to make starts for the Pirates this year in 2025, be in a position to help us win games. He could still make starts, but pitching in the major leagues is important. We wanted him to get that experience, get that feedback, and do it. Started early enough where there was, enough innings where it was a real experience, and that could inform his off season going into 2026. So that was the first thing. Second, it's no secret that he got off to a great start in AAA, and then went through some challenges in AAA the last couple of months. And I think at some point we got concerned that if we wait for some stretch of perfection, we just might see the clock run out and miss that opportunity. So that was in our mind, and then the last thing, which ended up being important and informing kind of the role he's in, is that Donnie's really made it important for most of that group of young pitchers that are here that the starts are earned. If you're going to start today, that doesn't mean we're declaring that you're in the rotation forever. You've earned the next start, and we felt like that if bringing Bubba up in this role was just more consistent with that messaging that has gone to the other pitchers. So a combination of those three things, and obviously excited about what he did on Friday, and he's going to get another turn here soon and see where it goes from there.
You talked about that stretch where you're waiting for it to get better.
Mm-hmm.
At what point did you guys pivot to the bullpen idea?
Yeah, I guess it's probably just within really the last few days before the call-up, within the last week or so. I don't think it was before that. It may have come up earlier in the season because we were, when we brought Ashcraft up, we sort of were trying out that role. So it may have come up in Bubba's case as a question, but I'd say more seriously just within the last week to 10 days.
Is there any concern that you've talked about having guys in the minors force the issue, like kind of perform so well that they didn't give you a choice about whether to promote them? Do you feel like that maybe that was counterproductive in Bubba's case in any way, that he was pressing and that the command issues weren't so much that he doesn't command his pitches, or that more so that he was putting more pressure on himself just to try to force your hand?
It's possible. I don't want to speak for him and exactly how he was feeling. The game will push you around in all kinds of ways. It does that to all of us. And what's clear is that Bubba is a really, really talented, competitive young pitcher, young athlete who cares a lot, and he's really important to us. And he went through a little bit of adversity that he, in AAA this year. And some of that may have been, related to stuff that was entirely outside of his control, and some of it maybe was stuff that was more of his control. But that's an experience he had, and it's not what you want to go through, but I think in some ways maybe good long term that he has had to fight through that, and it was fun seeing him out there the other night.
When you say out of his control, stuff that was out of his control, what do you mean by that?
Just that there always is, right? Like once you're in AAA, you don't, you have some control over your performance. You don't have full control over the roster and roster decisions, and to some degree, none of us do. But when you get to the top, it's sort of, you get to that point where it's, it's kind of forced down from above, and until that opportunity opens up, it doesn't open up. It does, you don't have full control over that. Whereas if you're an A-ball and performing for long enough at a high enough level, it's probably a pretty good chance that you're going to move up. And that's changed a little bit once you get to AAA.
On the note of A-ball promotions, if I told you at the beginning of this year that Connor would end the season in AA, would you have believed me?
Maybe believe. I wouldn't have had it. I wouldn't have guessed it. Maybe it wouldn't have shocked me. But no, I think he's. Wouldn't have put my money on it. But he's earned it, and we decided that whatever happened in AA the rest of the way would be better for him than finishing out the year in AA.
What's your reaction to some of the players recently talking some frustrations and speaking their mind Any thoughts about them speaking out and expectations for this offseason and next year?
Competitive, want to win. I share that. We need to be better. We need to do our work really well. The players do, I do, we all do, to accomplish that, to win more games. And so I think it comes from that care level, competitive mindset, and there's lots of different things that go into winning, and that the Pirates need to do, that we need to continue to do and focus on and get better. And so, to me, that's just where it comes from.
Going back to Bubba and what can he control, is an opportunity to start, in the realm of what he can do, whether it's what he's doing on the field, what he's doing between outings, whatever.
I think I missed the first part of the question.
Is him starting something he can't control down the stretch? Does he have that
He can earn
opportunity?
it, for sure, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be guaranteed like it would be for anybody, but, we were open with him that this is the role now, and doesn't mean you can't earn starts at some point, whether that's in September or whenever. So we'll see. We'll let Donnie guide that, going forward. But I think just trying to keep him in the same mindset that we're trying to keep all the pitchers in, or those young pitchers in. Just when it's their turn to pitch, get outs, get as many outs as you can until Donnie comes and takes the ball away from you, help the team win, and then we'll plan for the next one.
From your vantage point, quick assessment on what you liked, what you saw room for improvement from Bubba in
With Bubba?
4 innings?
I think the biggest thing was just being able to get back in the zone, a couple times when he maybe lost the zone for a short period of time, he's able to get it back pretty quickly, and that's just, when he's in the zone, he's ahead of counts, he's going to have a chance to be pretty successful. So I think that stood out, and certainly just the emotion and passion and joy for the competition. I think that's something that's just a part of who he is, and we've seen it since he signed, and saw that come out on a major league field. It was cool.
Then you had an option as to where to start Connor. How do you feel like he's progressed defensively at short?
Really well. It's been again, to Noah's question, we didn't know exactly how the shortstop thing would go. We felt like, based on what we knew at the draft, it made sense to find out. And we were, pretty committed to using a bunch of 2025 to find out. We didn't see any downside to finding out. If for some reason shortstop hadn't worked out or wouldn't work out, well, then we know there's a side door we can go into. But decided to find out, and he's passed with flying colors.
How much will working with Greeny up in Altoona help him as well?
Yeah, we're confident in our coaches everywhere, but Greeny's obviously done the job in the major leagues. He's been around really good major league infielders, so I think that'll be another good resource for Connor. We've had Mendy also checking in with Connor at different points in the season, and so he'll have a lot of people trying to help him.
From your point of view, how do you think he's handled this past year?
It's a good question. From my view, really, really well. And that's just based on, the performance is part of it, but based on what we can observe in his daily habits. No matter what's happened and how much attention he's gotten, he's showing up the next day, ready to work, ready to be there for early work, high energy, caring about the right stuff, picking up teammates. He's the first guy out of the dugout when a team scores a run. All those things that maybe you should assume would happen, but don't always happen. So, don't take it for granted. So I think just based on those things that we can observe, he's handling it really well. We're also aware that he's 19 years old, and this is a lot of his life's changed in the last year, and so we're working to be as proactive as we can about making sure we're helping him with that. And he's got a really good agency too, and we've got good collaboration with his agency, and just trying to keep that team of people around him.
Does his quick rise change any of the potential offseason calculus just because he's gotten to Double-A this quickly?
I don't know if it changes anything in the offseason. We've got clearly a lot of important work to do to get better, and I don't think we'd want to limit ourselves in any way there. I think to some degree with players like Connor, he's just, he's going to kind of tell us to some degree over time when and if and how, like, we should start to, how our decisions to start to be informed by him. I don't know that we're quite at that point this offseason, but maybe we get there sooner rather than later.
And I know it's been a week, but Nick's had Vorka's had a really big week.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen as his progression, and is there an opportunity for him sooner rather than later to come up here?
Yeah, again, I think it's one of those where if there's an opportunity, that would be the best outcome, right? Like, I don't know for sure, and some of that obviously will depend on guys that are on the roster now and kind of how the roster shapes out in September. But if it does happen, it's because he's continued to perform and do his part, and the opportunity's opened up. We are seeing improvement certainly over the course of the season. I think candidly there was not making the team out of spring training was difficult, like it would be for anybody, but we sort of had to grind through that early in the season, and we're seeing more consistently the player that we believe he can be, and we'll see what that leads to in September. But good news recently.
How tough is it to balance wanting to give guys here an extended opportunity, but also maybe wanting to get looks on some guys down in AAA right now?
It is. Balance is the right word. Again, we've got two rosters playing Major League and AAA, so we do have. It's not so much like there's not enough playing time, because between those two spots you can create the playing time, but obviously playing time in Major Leagues is different than playing time in AAA. So we try to balance that the best we can. We still think it's important that we're putting the best team on the field every day that we can in Pittsburgh in all ways we can. And it's really just a daily conversation about, okay, is this still best for the Pirates short and long term to, for this player to be getting this opportunity, or is it better for the Pirates for someone else to get that opportunity? We just talk about it every day, and I'd be surprised if there weren't some continued adjustments as we get into September. I think there very well could be. I can't tell you what they're going to be. It's just a daily conversation.
We saw what O'Neill did last night in Altoona. What's the next step for him?
He'll play today. I think they start at 6, and then barring something unforeseen, I suspect he'll fly to St. Louis tomorrow, and we'll just kind of check in on there and see what makes sense. Our hope is that he's very close.
Does he have to go through protocol again to get cleared for the majors? Or
No, to start the rehab, you need to have passed that. So he passed that in order to be able to start the rehab assignment. So that part's done. It's just a matter of when he feels and when we feel he's ready for activation. I think we're even close.
Did you watch any of that last night?
I watched the first at bat, and then I got distracted by our game, so I didn't see the rest
Did
of
you
it.
get distracted all seeing that O'Neill Cruz and Connor Griffin were out there on the field together and in the batting order together?
Yeah, I mean, the middle of the field was pretty cool. Connor and Tamar and Omar Alfonso behind the plate, O'Neill in center. So there's a lot of talent on the field last night in Altoona. But O'Neill just making sure that he's seeing the ball, he's on time, he's running the bases, like all the things. He's not affected by any of it. I think we'll know more by the end of the night.
A couple weeks from the trade deadline, do you feel like you guys have been able to make enough space for younger guys to get opportunities at Major League level?
Some, and probably not as much as we'd like to. So I think that's just something we got to keep working on. Yeah.
The last 2 years, he's only played 18 games in the majors, 18 games in the minors because of the elbow injuries. I know his desire is probably going to be to catch, but is that a position where maybe you have to look at other opportunities to help the hitter grow?
It's a good question. I think it's an important question. It's not one that we've really fully dove into. I think it'll be more time to do that this offseason. Right now, based on everything I know about the surgery and the recovery and Indy, nothing has changed. Believe he's a catcher, believe having a catcher who we believe can be good at the position defensively and hit left-handed is a massive value to the team. Believe having catchers, having right-left balance behind the plate. You don't have to have it, but in a perfect world, is a real asset to a team. I think we still have the potential to have that here through Indy, so I don't want to give up on that easily. And I'm sure we'll do a deeper dive on it this offseason and think about it.
would you make of Obi to start against Toronto, and is the hope for him to be in that starting rotation next season?
Sure, he's really important to us. We talk about how there's obvious excitement around Ashcraft and Burroughs and Carmen and Chandler and others. Johan's already had a full year as a starting pitcher on his resume, and a good one. And so I think we value that. He's important. He's worked really hard to come back from the Tommy John. I think we saw a different pitcher on Monday against the Blue Jays. Was it Monday? Yeah. Oh, sorry, Wednesday. I think we saw a different pitcher. I think we saw a pitcher whose stuff was actually a little bit better than it was before the injury. We saw a pitcher who was in the zone from pretty much from strike one. So he's worked really hard, and we want to keep running him out there and give him some runway as a starter and to be able to go into this offseason with some confidence.
Defensively, what have you liked about Triolo at short and Connor for left at third? And is that something you're going to continue, or will you move some guys around just to get them some playing time at other positions?
Yeah, I think when we got past the deadline, the conversation was just like, what gives what's most valuable for the Pirates in terms of the opportunities, and we just felt like if we could really get clarity on Tree's ability at short, it would just be important to know that. We know IKF can play anywhere. We know Tree can play at third. Believe Tree can play short, but just giving him some consistent runway there to really answer that question is what we wanted to do, and feel like he's answering that question. We think he can, and it doesn't mean necessarily that he's the shortstop in 2026. It just means that we now know more about that, and it just gives us some more options this offseason as we look to add to the infield. I think we'll need to add to the infield. We need to be better and stronger there overall.
You mentioned Tamar. What have you made of his season overall? Do you hope that he'll be an Indian sometime?
Trending well. Haven't made a decision on the indie part of it, but trending well. If you zoom out and look at his age, performance, he's been an above average performer in a really tough hitting environment as one of the youngest players in the league. So I understand he doesn't, there's not as much sort of loud attention around him as there is others, but we believe it's been a really good season given all that context, and trending better as the season goes on. So excited about where he's at. I feel like he's had a really good year, a chance to finish that really good year, and have momentum going into the offseason.